between the United States and the Philippines have historically been strong and have been described as a special relationship. The Philippines considered the United States as its closest ally in the world, though relations have recently been constrained or strained under the administration of President Rodrigo Duterte. The Philippines is one of the oldest Asian partners of the United States and a strategic major non-NATO ally. The United States has consistently been cited as one of the Philippines' most favored nations in the world, with 90% of Filipinos viewing the United States and 91% viewing Americans favorably in 2002. 90% of Filipinos viewing the United States influenced positively in 2011. 85% of Filipinos viewing the United States and Americans favorably in 2013, and 92% of Filipinos viewing the United States favorably in 2015, and 89% having confidence in the United States President Barack Obama in 2014, making the Philippines the most pro-American nation in the world.
Another is pursuant to the 1947 Military Bases Agreement. The United States maintained and operated major facilities at Clark Air Base until November 1991, and at Subic Bay Naval Complex and several small subsidiary installations in the Philippines until November 1992. On September 16, 1991, the Philippine Senate rejected the bases treaty by a slim margin, and despite further efforts to salvage the situation, the two sides could not reach an agreement. As a result, the Philippine government informed the U.S. on December 6, 1991 that it would have 1 year to complete with
the post-U.S. bases era has seen U.S.-Philippine relations improved and broadened with a prominent focus on economic and commercial ties while maintaining the importance of security dimensions. U.S. investment continues to play an important role in the Philippine economy, while a strong security relationship rests on the Mutual Defense Treaty of 1951. In February 1998, the U.S. and Philippine negotiators concluded the Visiting Forces Agreement, paving the way for increased military cooperation under the
President Arroyo, during her term, even repeatedly stressed the close relationship between the Philippines and the U.S. and her desire to expand bilateral ties even further. Both governments tried to revitalize and strengthen their partnership by working towards greater security, prosperity, and service to Filipinos and Americans alike. Inaugurated into the office on the same day as President Bush, President Arroyo lent strong support to the global war on terrorism.
Also, the annual Balikatan or shoulder-to-shoulder bilateral military exercises contribute directly to the Philippine Armed Forces efforts to root out Abu Sayyaf and Jamaah Islamiyah terrorists and bring development to the formerly terrorist-plagued areas, notably Basilan and Jolo in Mindanao. They include not only combined military training, but also civil military affairs and humanitarian projects. The International Military Education Training, or IMET, program is the largest in the Pacific and the third largest in the world, and a Mutual Logistics Supports Agreement, or MLSA, was signed in November 2002.
The U.S. also works closely with the Philippines to reduce poverty and increase prosperity. The U.S. also supports Philippines' efforts to root out corruption, to open economic opportunity, and to invest in health and education. U.S. aid programs support the Philippines' war on poverty, as well as the government's reform agenda in critical areas, including anti-money laundering, rule of law, tax collection, and trade and investment. Other U.S. aid programs have bolstered the government's effort to heal division in the Philippine society through the focus on conflict resolution, livelihood enhancement for former combatants, and economic development in Mindanao and autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao, among the poorest area in the country. Meanwhile, important programs continue to modern planning, infectious disease control, environmental protection, rural electrification, and provision of basic areas as well as PL 480 food aid programs and others, which together totaled $200.3 million. In 2006, the Millennium Challenge Corporation granted $25 million to the Philippines for the Threshold Program addressing corruption in revenue administration.
Nearly 400,000 Americans visit the Philippines each year, providing government services to U.S. and other citizens. Therefore, constitutes an important aspect of the bilateral relationship. Those services include Veterans Affairs, Social Security, and Consular Operations, benefits to Filipinos from the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs and the Social Security Administration. Total $297,389,415 in 2006. Many people-to-people program exists between the U.S. and the Philippines, including Fulbright, International Visitors, and Aquino Fellowship Exchange programs, as well as the U.S. Peace
U.S.
Corps.
merchandise trade with the Philippines amounted to $17.3 billion in 2006. According to Philippine government data, 16% of the Philippines' imports in 2006 came from the U.S. and about 18% of its exports were bound for America. The Philippines ranks as the 26th largest export market and the 30th largest supplier of the United States. Key exports to the U.S. are semiconductors, devices, and computer peripherals, automobile parts, electric machinery, textiles and garments, wheat and animal feeds, and coconut oil. In addition to other goods, the Philippines imports raw and semi-processed materials for the manufacture of semiconductors, electronics, and electrical machinery, transport equipment, and cereal preparations.
The U.S. traditionally has been Philippines' largest foreign investor, with about $6.6 billion in estimated investment as of end 2005 U.S. Department of Commerce data. Since the late 1980s, the Philippines has committed itself to reforms that encourage foreign investment as a basis for economic development, subject to certain guidelines and restrictions in specified areas under President Ramos. The Philippines expanded reforms, opening the power generation and telecommunication sector to foreign investments, as well as securing ratification of the Uruguay Round Agreement and membership in the World Trade Organization. As noted earlier, President Arroyo's administration has generally continued such reforms despite opposition from vested interests and nationalist blocs. A major obstacle has been and will continue to be constitutional restrictions on, among others, foreign ownership of land and public utilities, which limits maximum ownership to
For the last 2 decades, the relatively close Philippine economy has been opened significantly by foreign exchange deregulation, foreign investment, and banking liberation, tariff and market barrier reduction, and foreign entry into the retail trade sector.
As President Rodrigo Duterte formally assumed the office on May 30, 2016, the U.S.-Philippine relations have obviously begun to sour. The drift between Duterte and Obama relationship began when the United States President has expressed his concern over human rights issue on President Duterte's war on criminality and drugs. According to a statement issued by the White House, Obama commended the country for its vibrant democracy, but he also highlighted enduring values that underpin their long-standing ties, including shared commitments to democracy, human rights, and rule of law. This intervention and President Duterte's choice of words while speaking about President Obama during a press conference where he called him a son of war resulted in a cancelled meeting between the two leaders during the 2016 ASEAN Summit in Laos. A few weeks after, Duterte suggested American Special Forces to cease its operations and leave Mindanao. He cited the killings of Muslims, Filipino during a United States pacification campaign in the early 1900s, which he said were at the root of the long restiveness by minority Muslims in the largely Catholic nation South. It was only during his official visit to Vietnam last September 28, 2016, when he explicitly expressed that he wants an end to the Philippines' joint military exercises with the United States, saying the upcoming scheduled war games will be the last under his term, while adding that he will continue to uphold the Philippines treaties with the United States.
Duterte had an easy relationship with US since he won the presidential election in May. He said he's charting foreign policy, which is independent with the US. And he has taken steps to revive ties with China, which has been strained under Aquino over a long-standing territorial conflict in the South China Sea.
Earlier this month, Duterte said he would not allow government forces to conduct joint patrols in disputed waters near South China Sea with foreign powers. Apparently, scraping a deal, Aquino reached the United States military earlier this year.
Duterte said he also wants the U.S. military forces out of Mindanao and blamed America for inflaming local Muslim insurgencies there.
He also said that he was considering acquiring military equipment from Russia and China.
Foreign Affairs Secretary Perfecto Yase Jr. explained that Duterte does not want any joint control in any country, especially in the South China Sea.
His predecessor, former Foreign Affairs Secretary Albert Del Rosario, described Duterte's foreign policy direction as unfortunate. Del Rosario said that Duterte's administration foreign policy could alienate its major economic partners and create an unwelcoming environment to foreign
The
investors.
President has lamented that the U.S. seem to have a lack of support with the Philippines, even if they are allies for a long time. While he clarified that he would not cut ties with the U.S., Duterte confirmed that he will pursue an alliance with other countries like China and Russia. He is really claiming that he is a socialist president.
He even warned the Filipinos last September 27 on his speech in Arayat, Pampanga, that we may sacrifice a little bit, citing possibilities that the United States may cut its alliance with the Philippines. It is fine with him if we lost our ties with the U.S.
With our historic relations with the United States and all that we benefit from them, it is clearly not good to lose Washington's confidence to the Philippines. Our president has to think twice before letting go of such ally. For years, we worked for a better Philippines. We cannot do it if we keep on losing our partners, especially the big ones. Our Constitution states that we must have an independent foreign policy, but a man can only survive if he has support. Our government needs all the support that it can get. As a developing nation, we need all help possible. The United States can give us that help as much as China or Russia, or as much as the smallest country in the world. Let us not be a snob. Let us keep our friends close. Let us all grow together.